Hey there, Scorpios. It's Keegan. I hope that you guys are doing well. I want to just start this reading by saying happy birthday season to all of my Scorpios. If you've had your birthday already, I hope that it was a great one. And if your birthday is coming up, I hope that it's wonderful. I know that times are weird and birthdays are strange right now. And, it is what it is. We're going to hang out here together, at least for a while. I don't know how long this reading might be. I feel like it's going to be a bit longer than what I have been putting out on YouTube recently. And that is because I plan to do a little bit special for the Scorpios. And so if you're cross-watching this, you might notice it's a little bit different than the readings that I did for the other sign. And I'm doing that specifically because it is Scorpio season, and I have a ton of Scorpios who are subscribed to the channel. So you might notice that difference if you cross-watch. This will be a little bit different than the other readings, but it is going to contain the same reading that I'm doing for the other signs. But I'm going to spend a little bit of time just hanging out with you guys at the beginning and doing a bit of what I'm going to see as kind of a pre-reading. We'll see what happens with it. I'm just going to go ahead and dive into it. I'm going to shuffle a little bit while I talk to you guys. And explain a little bit about what I'm going to do in this pre-reading. I really just want to do a little mini reading, get tapped into the energy of the people who will eventually find this video and watch it, see if I can get connected to you guys a little bit more deeply before going into the main reading. And I'll talk to you guys about that. I'm really excited about it. You have an idea already what this is going to be about because I will title it something to let you know. But I have no idea when I sit down and I start talking to you guys what's going to happen. I don't know if we're going to a happy place, a dark place. I will say this, in sitting down to tune into you guys, one of the things that I really picked up on, and I've also just picked this up in doing personal readings for people. A lot of Scorpios requested personal readings from me. And there's this feeling of being frustrated in areas where you're realizing that you're kind of like half in, half out in situations. And it's kind of across the board. For some of you, that's relationships, wondering if the relationship is going to be able to be as deep, be as meaningful, be as important to you as you want it to be, questioning whether or not it's worth the time or the investment in it. For some of you, that's work. For some of you, it's friendships. I think for a lot of Scorpios, there's this feeling of just looking at ourselves as, birthday seasons are always strange. Birthday seasons are always a little bit weird because, we start to look at the past year. We start to look at what we've accomplished, what we've spent our time on, who we've invested our time and efforts and energy into. And it's natural for Scorpios to evaluate those things, to really look at them and start to ask, was it worth it? And I think that's really the theme of what I'm picking up energetically for you guys as I'm saying to tune in, is this reflective sort of energy, looking back at the past year and asking yourself, was it worth it? Okay, so I've pulled a couple of oracle cards out of my oracle deck, and what I want to do with this is give this deck a final shuffle, have it ready to go. I'm just going to flip each of these over one at a time. Again, this is sort of like a pre-reading, right? So it's going to go pretty quick, but I want to flip each of these over, go through free shuffle, get a couple of tarot cards to clarify what's going on, and then after we're done with this, we'll move into the actual reading itself, okay? So let's see what the first one we have here is. So this card says, my energy creates my reality. What I focus on is what I will manifest. And I can tell you right off the bat with this card, one of the things that I wanted to spend a little bit of time talking to Scorpios about specifically is our tendency to only allow ourselves to have that super intense, deep, meaningful connection to our emotions that are the heavier ones. And it's something that I talk about regularly in my Scorpio readings. When Scorpios feel disappointment, when we feel heartache, when we feel sadness, those darker, deeper emotions, because we are wired a bit to not have an innate fear of those darker, heavier emotions, it's almost like those emotions and feelings begin to feel like home, like a default setting almost. Okay? We have the Six of Pentacles coming out here. I'm turning that card upright because I feel like that's the way it was kind of angled. I also feel like it makes the most sense. Okay. I want to finish my thought before I talk about this card, though. It's a bad habit, I will say, of Scorpios to believe that our default setting is one of darkness. We take pride in the fact that we're very deep, the fact that we're very intense. We take pride in the fact that we're not intimidated by the darker aspects of life. We are naturally drawn to pondering and considering the darkness that exists in other people. We want to know about people in our lives in a way that isn't superficial. We want to know about their pain. We want to know about their heartache. We want to know about their trauma. We want to know about times when they've been hurt, because we understand people better when we understand what they've been through. And because of that sort of the psychology of being a Scorpio, the pride that we take in our ability to navigate those types of heavier emotions, sometimes we think that's what we are. But the truth of the matter is, and that's why I said I felt like this card needed to be turned upright, we're more than that. The Six of Pentacles, the Six of Coins, when it's upright, represents a place in which things are in balance. Things that are being put in, efforts that are being put in, are being returned. There's an abundance. There's more than what's needed, so we're able to share, right? And so with this card coming out in terms of giving me more insight into my energy creates my reality, what I focus on is what I will manifest. I want to point out to you, Scorpios, that energy is a tricky thing. And if we're focusing on our ability to deal with sadness, to deal with heartache, to deal with trauma, to deal with obstacles, to constantly be in this state of rising from the ashes and rebuilding everything, and in this mode of being a survivor, we're creating more and more and more opportunities to have to rise from the ashes. We're creating constant tower moments. And that is part of being a Scorpio. That aspect of transformation and rebirth is very much a core to our sign. But it can't be all that we are. We have to be willing to balance it out. We have to balance that darkness, the intensity of that darkness. We have to figure out how to balance that with the intensity of lightness. We have to be aware that our energy is constantly sending out a beacon to the universe to bring things into our life that match the vibration that we're at. So if you find yourself in a situation where you're just wondering, when do I get a break? When do things work in my favor? When do I find someone that I can be happy with? Ask yourself how you've spent the past 6 months or the past year of your life. Have you allowed for joy and happiness and hope to come in? Because if not, you haven't requested those things from the universe. You haven't actually made space for them. Okay, let's see what we have here. So, this card says, my happiness, interestingly enough, is a direct reflection of my level of faith in the universe. Well, we've kind of been talking about this, right? Again, I think very often Scorpios get into this mindset of, I have to do it all on my own. I'm here on my own. I'm here by myself. It's just me against the world. There's this survivor attitude, which is great. It is wonderful. It's one of the things that I love about being a Scorpio. It's one of the things that I love about working with Scorpios, doing readings for Scorpios, having Scorpios in my life. I love the fact that Scorpios are survivors. But we have to focus on having some level of faith in the universe. There are things that we cannot see. There are aspects of the world that we just can't comprehend. There are pathways to getting to where we want to go that we don't even see until we allow them to be illuminated for us. Now, what's interesting coming out here is you have the Empress with the King of Cups coming out reversed, and you have the Queen of Pentacles coming out upright. So let's talk a little bit about this. And I think if you watch other tarot readers, you're probably going to be hearing something pretty consistent, I think, in regards to Scorpio season this year. And that is the need for everyone, regardless of whether you're male or female, everyone to really connect into, embrace, and find comfort with their feminine energy. I think what these cards are really showing here for Scorpios in particular is a situation in which we have to figure out how to be okay needing other people. You know, the Empress, when she's reversed, represents a dependent type of energy. An energy that, you know, often in readings, depending on the context, might be described as being kind of smothering, overwhelming, a very selfish sort of energy. But I think it's coming out here to really push you to be okay needing people. It's okay to need people. It doesn't mean you're needy. It's just a fact of life. It's a fact of life that we need people in our lives. We need people that we feel we can depend on, people we can trust. We need people that we can talk to, especially in times like these. You know, this Scorpio season is unlike a Scorpio season that most of us have ever experienced in our lives. There's a lot going on in the world. You know, I took a very long break from doing readings on YouTube and doing personal readings, just because the collective energy trying to tap into it was so scared and frightened and worried and concerned and anxious. The whole world is on edge. And Scorpio season tends to just amplify that sort of thing. Scorpio season is about bringing to the surface the things that we have tried to keep buried throughout the rest of the year. It brings those things to the surface, and it demands that we look at them. It demands that we look at areas where we're not fully invested and ask ourselves why. It forces us to let go of things, to accept other things in. Like the sign itself, the season is about transformation. The Empress and the King of Cups being reversed here is giving me an energy of being too protected, being too guarded, being so cut off and detached from your willingness to allow other people in, that you're almost cutting yourself off from what is of your very nature. Because a Scorpio's true nature is one of feelings, one of emotions. And those are typically directed outward towards other people. The Queen of Pentacles showing up here, another card of femininity. But this card also speaks to the notion of family, whatever family is to you, whether that is an actual family, building that life with someone, building a home, or whether it's just about your tribe, who you're surrounding yourself with, who you're allowing in. But your happiness is dependent upon your faith that the universe wants to present you with people who care about you, with people who are going to be supportive. But you're not going to pull those people in if you're thinking everyone's going to hurt you, if you have your guard up against everyone, if you have that Scorpio stinger on edge ready to go. Again, more of that energy of needing to open yourself up to experiencing the depths and the intensity of higher vibration feelings and emotions. And we're going to focus on that during the actual reading itself. So last one here, let's see what we have. This card says, I am a spirit having a human experience, and I'm here to get closer to love. I didn't peek at these guys. The whole purpose of being here is to experience being human. That's not all that we are. There's so much more to us than our humanness. But we have to embrace the humanness. That's the reason that we're here. That's the whole purpose. We came here to experience the human emotions. Scorpios more so than anyone else. Let's take a look at what we have here. We have the Page of Pentacles coming out reversed. We have the Sun card popping in. The Star card reversed. And the Magician coming out reversed. Okay? So let's talk about this. Scorpios, if you watch my readings, you know that in a love reading, I don't like this card. But in this particular sense, tuning into you guys, I'm just going to tell you, this is a Scorpio who's not fully embracing everything that's amazing about being a Scorpio. This is talking about truly being so in touch with your intuition, so trusting in the universe that you know every moment, whatever's going on, whatever's happening, you're being guided. Your intuition is trying to lead you towards something. Not only are you not in that flow right now, but because you're not in that flow, you're not able to create the things that you want. I talked about this over here. Your energy has not been aligned. Right? Magician reversed and the Star card reversed. This is all about being in a place in which you are blocking your own ability to have what you want, to create what you want, to solve the problems that you feel are in your way. You're actively putting obstacles in your path to prove to yourself that you can get through them, to prove to yourself that you're strong enough to survive. You're in fight mode. You're not focusing on living. You're focusing on surviving. And I'm not talking about just like day-to-day stuff, right? Like, I get it. Life is strange right now. Life is hard. There are a lot of people who are struggling. But even in those moments, there's still the way to push yourself to get closer to experiencing love. You know, some of the happiest people in the world are the people who have the least, because they keep their world happy. The world that they have control over, the things that they have control over, they try to bring joy in. With this Page of Pentacles, for me, this really just feels like a place in which you need to invest a little bit more time thinking about and studying your nature as a Scorpio. Looking at places where you can do work that doesn't cost any money, but you can do work to raise your vibration, to heal trauma that you've experienced. Sun card, most positive card in the deck. There's so much abundance wanting to come through. From the very beginning to the end. But your ability to get that, your ability to get there, hinges upon you understanding that the universe wants to help you, being open to that, tapping into your intuition, and raising your vibration. Okay? So, I want to talk to you guys about the actual reading itself. That was a pretty long pre-read, but I think some good messages came through there, and I did want to just spend a little bit of time with you guys. Okay? So, let's talk about the actual reading. What are we going to be focusing on? Okay? So, I wanted to focus the Scorpio season readings on feelings and emotions, because that's really what each sign, I think, is going to be tasked with the most, is trying to navigate what is an increasingly intensifying amount of focus on their feelings. It's almost like that analogy of, if you put a frog in a pot of water and you slowly bring it to a boil, it doesn't even, they're not even aware of what's happening until it's too late. And that's the type of vibe that I'm feeling for the Scorpio season. It's like slowly it keeps getting turned up more and more. And then before we know it, we're all into that intense Scorpio feeling. And it's kind of funny because the other signs really freak out when they experience the intensity of emotions and feelings at that Scorpio level. It's very intense for other signs. Now, Scorpios, we're used to it, but it is even going to be more intense for us. But there was no way for me to do readings for other signs and really talk about feelings and emotions from the perspective of how Scorpios actually experience them. Because we have so many subtle shades of gray in between the simplest of emotions, right? In between frustrated and annoyed, there are all of these subtle areas where Scorpios land in terms of what they're actually feeling. And that's too complicated. That's too complicated. So I did a little of research and I found that in the 70s, there was a psychologist named Paul Ekman, and he basically wanted to look at cultures across the world, across different time spans of human existence, and figure out if there were common basic emotions. And he came up with 6 initially, and those were happiness, sadness, disgust, fear, surprise, and anger. But he later added on more: pride, shame, embarrassment, and excitement. So that gave me a nice round number of 10 feelings and emotions to focus on. And so that's what the Scorpio season readings are going to be about. And this is where all the other signs will be joining me. They won't get that initial pre-reading. They will just start here. But what I want to do is shuffle this deck a little bit. I'm going to start with this deck. I'm going to approach these emotions in pairs. So I will put up on the screen in a moment the first 2 emotions that we're going to look at. And this is specific to what Scorpio season is going to bring to the surface for you around each of these feelings and emotions. Now, before we get into this reading, I do just want to let you guys know that I've decided to extend the special pricing that I did in October through Scorpio season. I had a lot of people email me wanting to know if it was just for October, if it was for Scorpio season. There was confusion because I said it was related to my birthday as a Scorpio. And I decided just to, keep going with it, at least through Scorpio season. So there's information on the screen right now. If you're not looking at your screen, you might want to take a look. It's basically $1 a minute for 30, 60, or 90-minute readings. I added on the 90-minute because some people asked about getting longer, more in-depth readings. I'm also doing something that is very limited in number, but I'm going to be offering something specific to Scorpio season, which is where I will do a tarot and natal chart reading for you. And if you're interested in that one, for sure, let me know ASAP, because I'm not going to be able to do a lot of them. So they're very limited in how many of those I will accept. So if you're interested in those, definitely let me know. Okay. So this deck is feeling good. I want to shuffle my Oracle deck again because I want to be able to pull some cards out of this at the end of each of those sections. Okay. So let's go ahead and get started here. I'm going to put the first 2 emotions up on the screen for you. We're going to look at happiness and sadness. What does Scorpio season have in store for you? What is it going to bring to the surface in terms of happiness and sadness? Let's start with happiness. There's that Magician reversed again. So Scorpios, I don't know how much more clear we can be. It popped up earlier. Here he is again. The universe wants to bring you happiness, but you have to be an active participant in it. You have to be willing to do your part, and your part's really easy. Your part is really about just asking yourself what it is that you want. And listen to and trust your intuition in bringing that forward. Focusing your energy and really thinking about where you want to be this time next year, and absolutely refusing refusing to allow anything to get in your way, including yourself, is, I think, the key, right? Give me more information about the Magician reverse, please. Maybe that's it. Can be that simple. Nine of Wands coming out here. You know, I think this is, I'm feeling very similar energy here to what I had mentioned at the very beginning, which is that notion of reflecting and figuring out kind of what and who gets to move forward with you. The Nine of Wands for me is really about figuring out our boundaries and doing what we need to do to keep them in place, and putting in the effort that we need to put in to move forward, to keep pushing forward. I think these two cards coming out together is asking you to take that energy, that energy that I talked about I'm a survivor, I'm going to push through it, I can survive anything, and shift that into I can create anything, I can manifest anything, I can make whatever it is that I want happen. I can do it through listening to my intuition, through tapping into the potential that I have, and using all of the lessons that I've learned and all the strengths that I have and all the intensity that I can call forth, and putting that into going after exactly what I want. Let's take a look at sadness here. Any information about sadness? Nine of Cups coming out initially here. It's reversed. It's interesting because, you know, I think we all know who this person is. This is that person who promised the world and didn't deliver. It's the person who made us walk on eggshells because of how they felt. Their feelings mattered more than ours. This is a person who asked for the world and gave little to nothing in return. Don't be surprised if this person resurfaces during the season, particularly around Halloween with the full moon. Don't be shocked if they come back just to test the waters. Be prepared for that. But even if this person doesn't come back, I think that it's coming forward as a request to close this out. Let this person go and really mean that. Commit to letting them go with the intensity of a Scorpio. That means we don't compare new people to this person. We don't set our expectations of how people are going to treat us based on how this person treated us. We don't allow this person to infect our default setting in terms of our willingness to open up and let people in. We don't allow this person to continue to have control over our emotions. This is coming out in the place of sadness, and meaning this is the biggest point of sadness for you. It's putting all of this effort, putting all of this into someone to ultimately have them be a disappointment, to not be able to match what you were willing to give. But that has little to do with you. That's about them. You shouldn't allow them to shape you, how you are, how you express yourself, what you believe yourself to be capable of, who you believe you can pull in, the type of love and connection that you can have with others. Give me more information for Scorpio, please, around sadness. Ten of Pentacles coming out upright. You still have complete ability, complete likelihood of being able to find a true, loving, supportive, caring, compassionate, harmonious, blissful connection with someone. A relationship that can enrich your life. Something that's stable, something that you can trust in, depend on. But you can't achieve that if this person is still entwined in your emotions when it comes to your willingness to open up and love. You have to close this out. You have to end the sadness. Because what's happening here, Scorpio, is that, think about what I said at the beginning, right? If you're focused on how sad you are that this person didn't work out, or that this person left, or that this person ghosted you, or this person manipulated you, this person gaslit you, this person broke your heart, this person cheated, whatever it is for you, if your energy's focused on this and how this didn't work and how you got hurt and how love is scary, you are not bringing this any closer. You're keeping it away. You're blocking it. And saying, well, I want this, Keaghan, I want this. Well, it's one thing to want it. It's another thing to make space for it, to align your energy to it, to believe in it, right? Let's get a couple of oracle cards here. So in terms of happiness, what is some advice or guidance for you around achieving this? Tapping into your intuition, figuring out where your boundaries are, who gets to come in, what type of life you want, channeling all that energy into creating it. What is the best advice for you? This card says, I do whatever it takes to get closer to consciousness. You have to figure out how to get your mind and your feelings and your spirit and your intuition all aligned towards what it is you want to create, where you want to go, and go for it. Don't stop. Don't get in your own way. Don't let doubts trip you up. Don't let that tendency to slip into those darker aspects of things, doubting what's possible. Be unrelenting for the next year at chasing after happiness and see where you end up. What about this? This card says, I recognize that I've chosen fear, and I choose again. I choose love. You chose fear. You chose fear. You've allowed fear to be something that has motivated you. You've allowed fear to be something that has kept you from taking chances. You've allowed fear to be in the back of your mind. You've allowed fear to harden your heart. You've allowed fear to wall you off. You've allowed fear to consume your focus. Choose again. Choose to focus on love. Choose to focus on light. Choose to focus on happiness. Okay? So, let's clear these away. We're going to move on to the next two emotions, which are going to be discussed and surprise. But I want to say here, I wanted to wait to say this until we were a little bit into the reading, because I'm actually, honestly, I'm a little bit uncomfortable with this. But I've had a couple of people who have either left comments or who have sent emails asking, because they're aware my birthday's coming up on Halloween, and asking if there was a way they could donate to the channel or just, give a little gratitude to me for doing this on YouTube. And I have thought about it and gone back and forth. And one of the things that I'm focusing on for this year is really trying to be more present and also just trying to be more grateful. And it's not that I'm an ungrateful person, but it's just, I think I don't realize how much support is out there for me, and that there are people who do want to say thank you, or that there are people who just are invested in seeing me succeed here. There are people who want to really see me, grow and expand and see where the channel goes. And I think often it's not necessarily that I'm ungrateful about that, but it's uncomfortable for me to think about that, because it adds a certain layer of responsibility onto it. Knowing that there are so many of you who do want to, root for me and cheer me on. So just really quickly, if you are interested in doing any sort of a donation to support the channel, you can do that. There is a link on the screen now of how you can do that. And again, it is completely not anything that I expect. It is not anything that is mandatory. I do this because I like doing it and I like helping people. But if you are able to do that, then in advance, I say thank you, and I accept it. I'm working on accepting those blessings myself. This reading so far has also connected very much for me personally. I think opening myself up to receiving abundance and blessings and having life be a little bit less stressful is absolutely a lesson for me to tap into. Okay. So with that said, this deck feels good. Let's take a look at disgust. Okay, what's going on here, Scorpio? I think disgust is one of those true Scorpio emotions too. It's a very intense type of emotion and feeling. What is going on with Scorpios? There's the disgust surfacing for them. Page of Pentacles coming out with Judgment. All right. Well, what does this mean? Right? Page of Pentacles. This is about our belief in ourselves. This is about that drive and ambition. Allowing ourselves to truly tap into and feel what we desire, what we want, what we believe we deserve. Very odd, considering my quite uncomfortable willingness to allow for blessings to be presented to me, right? It's coming out with Judgment, right? The thing with Judgment as a card is it's really a great card. It's a card of being set free, being liberated, having some sort of clarity or an awakening. Very often when the Judgment card comes out, it is about being on that precipice, being on the edge of connecting to what is really your life's purpose, what your calling is, feeling that pull towards it, feeling that connection to it. So neither of these cards are bad, right? But it's showing up under disgust. So what's going on here? Is it just a feeling that if you can't do it on your own, that means that you're undeserving? Is it a feeling that needing to involve other people, needing to lean on other people, needing to have people who can root for you, people who can send you energy, who can give you support, somehow makes you feel inadequate, embarrassed? Whatever it is related to your own ability to believe in yourself, right? me more information around disgust, please. There's that Empress coming out reversed again. And like I said, I think you will see this in other readings with other readers. I hate using these terms because in a way they're almost like outdated. And I wish that there was another way of expressing them. And if you guys have suggestions about that, let me know. But this notion of like masculine energy and feminine energy, right? I wish there was just a different way of categorizing them without using masculine and feminine. But being nurturing, being caring, being compassionate, being open, receptive. That's what you have to do. And it is almost like those feelings, that vulnerability, that's what it is. Being vulnerable disgusts you. For those of you who are still with me, I know as soon as I said vulnerability, you're like, the hairs on your arm stood up and you like shivered, right? Scorpios hate it. We hate it. We hate being vulnerable. But you have to be. You have to be willing to depend on other people, to admit when you can't do it on your own, when you need help. That's what has to happen for you to really be able to push yourself towards where you want to go. What does Scorpio season have for you in terms of a surprise? Please be good, right? I didn't realize I would be so nervous doing this reading because I didn't expect to connect to it quite as much. There's that Knight of Cups again. Well, I said they might come back, right? Totally different deck, guys. Completely different deck. Not the same deck I used earlier. They're going to pop back up. They will pop back up. I mean, we talked about him. I'm not going to give this person, he or she, you know who they are, right? They're going to come back. They're going to pop up. It's the big October Scorpio season surprise. Might happen in November, though, but they come back. So let's see what's going on with this person. What do they come back to say? The card that fell. I will grab that one. Okay, we have the Seven of Pentacles. Let me pick this card up just as it is. Eight of Pentacles. Oh, that was so weird. I said Seven of Pentacles. It was the Eight of Pentacles, but the Seven of Pentacles was on the ground. Okay. I will tell you, Scorpio season is very strange for me because I feel like whatever this is, it gets amplified. Okay, so this person comes back. And they are very much going to be full of promises that they have learned, they have grown, they have changed. They understand things better. They've put in the work. They have improved. But have they? Right? Have they? You know, this card is often associated with, you know, the apprentice to student. That's where I'm saying they've learned, they've done the work, right? They're going to say, I feel like we gave up on this too soon. I'm not sure this is right. Give me another shot. Should you? I mean, ultimately, that's up to you. Ultimately, that's up to you. I tend not to give direct advice in general readings on YouTube because everyone has their own specific things, right? This person may or may not have done the work that they say they've done, though. Let's get an oracle card to get a little bit more clarification on both of these, though. See what that card has to say about that person. I hate that that card came out for surprise. Like, I really do hate it. All right. Over here, in terms of this feeling of disgust, this hatred for vulnerability, this card says, when I focus on my inner light, I see the world through the lens of love. You know, I love that this card came out here because your inner light really is your vulnerable nature. Your willingness to let people in, your willingness to trust, your willingness to be kind of innocent, receptive. If you can tap into that, if you can embrace your vulnerability, if you can turn off the disgust around this aspect of being open, you do start to experience the world differently because people do show up for you. People do support you. People do root for you. People do cheer you on. People do care. People listen. People remember things that are going on and they check in. But you have to be open to it. If you're going through life and you're like, everything's fine, everything's fine, everything's fine, everything's fine, everything's fine, people think everything's fine, Scorpio. But if you say, you know what, it's tough, I'm struggling right now. I really feel like I don't have support. I feel like I need people around. I need to be able to know I can reach out and talk to people. There are people who are willing to be there to listen. There are people who are willing to support you, care about you. Focus on that inner light. And light, both in terms of like, you know, your inner light, but also the lightness, right? Being lighter, raising your vibration, allowing that in. All right, this person, surprise. This card says, in every moment, the universe is conspiring to bring me towards right-minded thinking and the energy of love. So interesting card in terms of this person popping back up. Regardless of whether this person has done the work that they have, regardless if this person has changed, regardless of whether this person is popping up just to test the waters and see if they can get back in and turn everything upside down again, the universe is trying to give you insight. The universe is trying to help you think about this in the right way, to make the right decision, to direct you towards love, whether it is a second chance at love with this person or pushing you towards love with another person that is not a repeat of what this was. But be prepared. When you watch this, make a note when this person does pop back up, or if they've already popped back up, go into the comments and say, you were right, they popped back up, I got the text in the middle of the night, or they showed up, I ran into them, whatever it was, let me know. Because I feel certain they're going to pop back up. Okay, so let's move on to the next two. We have excitement and fear. And I put these two together on purpose because there is not that much difference between excitement and fear, if you really think about it. Right? Think about being in line to ride a roller coaster. How you feel, right? Now, if you're into that, right? That excitement. Think about waiting to hear about something that really matters to you. Waiting for me to post my Scorpio reading, right? Excitement. How does that feel? It feels kind of similar to fear, right? Now, Scorpios, this is a place where I want to just talk to you for a little bit, because this, I think, is where other signs kind of struggle, because Scorpios are able to discern usually between excitement and fear. For us, we're like, well, yeah, they're similar, but this is so different because these things happen, and this is different because this is going on, right? Like, we feel our emotions in that way. We feel our emotions in that manner where the subtlety of the emotion really comes through, right? But sometimes, even for Scorpios, it can be hard, especially if it is a situation where we're confronting something that maybe makes us feel a little bit uncomfortable. Vulnerability, perhaps. So let's take a look. I just pulled some cards at random as I was talking. See what we have. Excitement. Whew, very interesting. 10 of Pentacles showing up again. We talked about that earlier. I think it was during the pre-read. I think you really do. You want to be able to have happiness. You want to be able to have contentment. You want to be able to have a partner, a happy life, harmonious life, joyful life, stability. All things, not just related to relationships, but your career, your health. You know, the Ten of Pentacles for me represents a good life. A life that looks how we want it to look, a life that we're proud of. But you also have to get excited about something else, Scorpio. Eight of Coins here, coming out reversed. Now, when this card comes out reversed, it's a place in which we're not focused. Our focus is not there. Our energy is not aligned to it. Notions of perfectionism could be getting in the way, blocking us. The thing about getting to that Ten of Pentacles is it takes work. It takes work on ourselves. We have to be willing to do the work that we need to do, focus on the things we need to focus on. When we meet the person, we have to be willing to navigate dealing with another person, figuring out how to be in a relationship with them, how to keep that relationship healthy. It takes work. So you can't get to this without also being excited about the journey towards it, putting in the effort. And again, going back to what I said, being excited about pulling this into your life. Not fearful. Note, this did not come out under fear. This came out under excitement. So think about, what does your energy feel like when you think about meeting someone, falling in love, having yourself swept off your feet, having all those feelings and emotions about someone? Are you excited about it? Or does it make your palms sweat and your anxiety shoot up and you start thinking, well, but what if I meet him and what if they're that Knight of Cups again? What if they're just a liar? What if I make the same mistake? What if I repeat the pattern? What if they cheat on me? What if they lie? What if they ghost me? What is your emotion? What happens internally for you when you think about falling in love? It needs to be excitement. What can you do to make it be excitement? Fear. Very interesting. Three of Cups. Page of Pentacles. I feel like what this represents, honestly, Scorpio, is just, it's very like antisocial, loner type of energy. You know, the Three of Cups represents that place where we have allowed people in. We've let people in. Page of Pentacles here, this has come out before in this reading, I think with another deck and one of the other things. This is about being willing to put in the work. Admitting to something that we want. Scorpios want people in their life. Scorpios want people that we can get to know. Scorpios want people that we can open up to. Because we don't open up easily. But we want to. We want to let people know us. But it's not easy for us. It is a place of fear. I get that. But you're going to have to face that this Scorpio season. I think for a lot of you, one of the things that I'm picking up on, and I've mentioned it a couple of times, is looking at connections that you've had, thinking about, does it seem like they are going where you want them to go? Are they deepening to the point where you feel like it's still worth investing? It's never easy for Scorpios to let people go. We're very loyal. But when we get to the point where we realize that we've gotten as far as we can get with someone, that there isn't depth to that connection, that we can't open up, we can't talk to them, we can't be ourselves, we get shot down for being too much, too intense, we will leave it. I think it's a combination of a couple of things going on here. One, potentially having to let some people go. For some of you, it's looking at people that you've let go and wondering if maybe that was a mistake. Specifically talking about friendships, maybe for some of you, family. Trying to figure out where you want to put in the effort in continuing things, mending things, what needs to just slip away, be released. Let's look at the oracle cards for these. That one right there. Okay, excitement. Here it is again. I am a spirit having a human experience, and I'm here to get closer to love. Right? Obviously, that's something you needed to hear again, Scorpio. Fear. Wow. I recognize that I've chosen fear, and I choose again. I choose love. Both of these have come out before. I did shuffle that. I did mix them up. I just randomly, that one was sort of slid out, wanted it. Okay. We've talked about these. This is interesting to me because I do want to say, for some of you, I do feel like you're looking at the past year and realizing some people got lost that maybe you feel still have potential. Again, specifically with friendship, because we have the Three of Cups here. So I'm not talking about a love situation, a romantic love. I think for some of you, you're really thinking about a friendship or a family connection that was damaged that you really want to put some effort into fixing, but there's some fear there about whether it will be received well, whether you can actually do the work or get that person to be receptive to it. Okay? So, anger and shame. What's going to come out here for you, Scorpio? I know some of you are super excited because this is going to be really long. We're approaching an hour. I did do that pre-read though, so I added to it. But for those of you who've never gone through a long reading with me, welcome. Sometimes they can be long. I don't usually do them this long on YouTube anymore, but there's clearly a reason. What's got you pissed off and angry, Scorpio? What's gonna bubble to the surface here? Seven of Pentacles coming out upright. What is that about, though? So the Seven of Pentacles, we'll talk about what this means, and then we'll see if we can get some clearer energy about this. Seven of Pentacles, it's about putting in a lot of work, putting in work, and waiting, having the patience, waiting to see whether or not we're going to get the results that we want. Having a bit of a delay, having to wait to see. And I think that does have a lot of you pissed off. Ooh. Three of Swords reversed. Scorpio. Three of Swords reversed, I feel this longing to just have someone admit what they did was wrong. For those of you who are listening to me and are still hanging out, this is intense emotion and energy coming from you guys. Like, this is about a long investment in a connection, a long investment in a person that ended in a very, very painful way, and you feel completely gutted and cannot believe that someone that said they cared about you could do what they did, and also have the nerve to not even own it, to not even apologize. This feels like anger about an insult to your love, an insult to your intelligence, an insult to your openness, an insult to everything about you. This person's actions and their inability to have it, to take ownership and have responsibility about what they did, it has pissed you off. I think this is about that Knight of Cups that keeps popping up. I want to get one more card here, just because the energy is so intense. Ooh, it's almost like you guys don't want to talk about it. Wow. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Scorpio. I needed to make sure. But yeah, the Lovers. Scorpio. It's weird. When I'm doing readings for YouTube, I realize I can't just go quiet on you guys because it's weird and you stop watching. But yeah, you felt like this was the relationship. You felt like this was someone that you could count on, someone that you would be with. You felt like this was a very deep and meaningful connection, and this person completely just like they pulled the rug out from under you, and do not seem to be willing to understand how hurtful that was. And you're aware that you put in so much work, you put in so much effort, you tried so hard, and it just doesn't seem like that's even being acknowledged. So, understandable anger around that. What's going on with shame, Scorpio? Just the one? Just the one, really? Okay. All right. Ten of Swords. It's this. They're connected. You know, what I want to say here, Scorpio, is that sometimes the pain that we have to feel around an ending to something, in order for us to allow it to end, can be a lot. I understand this myself as a Scorpio. There, have been connections where after the fact, I look back and I see what I put up with, what I took, how I allowed myself to be treated. And it's shameful. Like, I feel shame about it. I don't anymore because I've done what I need to do to let that go. But I feel like for those of you who this is resonating with, I think the reason there was just that one card there is because, like, there's shame that you allowed yourself to be manipulated, allowed yourself to be taken advantage of, allowed yourself to be mistreated, allowed yourself to be not valued, not loved, not cared for, because of this belief that this was something worth that. But here's the thing, Scorpio. This, the Lovers, a true situation where it's that type of connection, you don't go through this. And if you do go through that, the person for sure, absolutely 100%, is going to apologize if they make you feel that way. So if this person is not doing that, if this person isn't owning what they did, if this person isn't trying to make things right, if this person is still trying to play the same games, if this person isn't talking to you, if this person isn't doing everything that they can to show you that they're sorry, it was not this. And you shouldn't be ashamed. You shouldn't be ashamed that you tried. You shouldn't be ashamed that you put in the effort. I'm so trying to get away from this energy, I almost forgot the Oracle cards. Give this good shuffles because I keep pulling the same ones out. See, I shuffled that. I'm not looking at them. I'm just randomly pulling them. Okay. What's the advice in terms of dealing with this anger? being able to process it, let it go, turn it around. Energy flows where my intention goes. Scorpio, if you're pissed off and angry and hurt and disappointed and distrustful and thinking the love sucks and you can't trust anybody, guess who keeps popping up? Shift your energy. Shift your energy. Shift your energy. What about the shame? My energy creates my reality. What I focus on is what I will manifest. Energy flows where my intention goes. It's the same thing. Same thing. Scorpio, you have to be mindful of your energy. You have to be mindful of what you are, what you're feeling. Which brings us to our final two emotions here. Pride and embarrassment. And I put these at the end deliberately because I think very often our pride, our ego, in places where that has been bruised and damaged, are the things that get in our way the most, things that cause us the most problems. They're the things that prevent us from being able to move forward, the things that keep us stuck in patterns and cycles, that keep us going back to people that don't deserve us, investing time in situations that don't pan out, right? So, show me information about Scorpio's pride. What's going on here? The insight around the pride for Scorpio, please. Insight to embarrassment for Scorpio. Is Scorpio dealing with embarrassment? Interesting. Well, embarrassment has shown itself. Pride has not. I'm still going to start here. For those of you who know something about cards, you might already have an idea of what's going on here. But I'm going to start here because that's how I designed the reading. Whew, Scorpio. All right. Devil coming out with the Queen of Swords upright in terms of pride. So Scorpio, it's time to be honest with yourself. It's time to be willing to learn some lessons that you need to learn and to stop letting your ego get in the way of you learning those things. This is about places in which you confuse your lust, you confuse your attraction to people who are good at temptation and seduction with love. You confuse those things. This is about needing to be honest with yourself about what real love, real loving relationships are like. Obsession and addiction to a person is something that can be very intoxicating. It is something that can cause a lot of problems too, however. And if we're unable to admit to ourselves that what we felt was not a true loving connection, but was codependency, or it was finding someone who would hurt us and wound us in the exact way that would trigger our traumas so that we could continue to be victimized and hurt, then our pride is limiting our ability to move towards the type of future that we want. It's very intense energy here. Now, it's interesting with this being what showed up for pride, because for embarrassment here, we have the King of Coins reversed with the Hermit reversed. And what I think this represents, Scorpio, is embarrassment that you've kept yourself isolated and pulled away from what you really honestly truly want. That you're putting energy out that you don't want someone, you don't need someone. You're putting out energy that you can't trust, that you can't open up, that you can't be vulnerable. And it's embarrassing because you're aware of it. These things are very much connected. I can't believe I'm keeping this out of my life, but I'm also embarrassed to admit that I even want it. I can't express that I want to have this connection, and I isolate myself. I keep people at arm's length. I'm making people fight like hell just to be able to get moderately close to me. It's embarrassing. But I keep making the same mistakes of getting so swept up in something that I know is not good for me. So, last two oracle cards, and then we're going to wrap this reading up, Scorpio. I hope that you guys have enjoyed this. I wanted to do something a little bit different for Scorpio season. I wanted to just be able to have something that felt a little bit like, you know, relaxed, and being able to go through and pick things apart and look at different parts of our emotional bandwidth that we have. So how can you deal with this sticky area of pride? Obstacles are detours in the right direction. You know what? All of those people, all those mistakes, all of those repeating patterns, they can be seen as something that's nudging you, even if it's taking a lot of nudging, Scorpio, nudging you towards what's right, what's for you. But if you don't listen, if you get that obstacle and you overcome it, and your energy becomes, see, I made it through that. I'm okay. I survived it. Where's my next obstacle? Where's my next obstacle? Where's the next one? Don't repeat the pattern of having to constantly have obstacles. Allow yourself to get over that obstacle and change direction. Break that cycle. Embarrassment. The more energy and intention I bring to my faith, the more fearless and free I am. Scorpio, again, going back to something I said earlier, you have to really map out where you want to be. When I'm doing this reading for you this time next year for Scorpio season, when your birthday is approaching or your birthday has just passed, what do you want your life to be like? And then you have to fearlessly pursue that. You have to go all in on yourself. I think that might be what I name this. Go all in on yourself, Scorpio. So, Scorpios, I just want to say a huge thank you to all of you. Scorpios are just abundant on this channel. You guys are super supportive. You're always usually my top watched video, in my top 10 most watched videos. They're, you know, overwhelmingly Scorpio related. And so I just want to say a huge thank you to you. As my own return around the sun approaches, I'm just so appreciative, honestly. And I love that you guys continue to watch my videos and continue to join up and become subscribers. And I'm sending you so much love and so much Scorpio energy. And I just really do want you to commit to going all in on yourself. All right, Scorpios, have a great birthday season. And I will probably do another Scorpio season type of birthday thing for you at some point.